Take the pain out of ordering your diabetic testing supplies with Diathrive. Diathrive ships the testing supplies you need directly to you when you need them. Best of all, with plans starting as low as $8 a month, Diathrive is probably going to cost you less than what you're paying today. Diathrive is so convinced that you'll love their service, they're offering your first month of supplies free. Simply type the code DOC, D-O-C, at checkout. Diathrive.com. That's D-I-A, thrive.com.
Dating today with all the crazies out there has to be nuts.
Yes, it really would. Wouldn't it be nice if there was a place you could go to find people who think like you do?
Like me, like libertarians and conservatives?
Right?
There is. WeThePeople.dating.
Amazing. What a genius idea. This is a site that you can go to if you're single and you are looking for somebody who you know you're going to think the same way, as far, from a political freedom standpoint. If you want to date the right person for you, you'll find them in one place. WeThePeople.dating.
Have you done it? You catch a glimpse of yourself in the mirror?
I'm one of those people you don't want to see naked.
Yeah, most of us. But I mean, you look and you're going, what the?
I know.
How did I get to whatever?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, it's horrible. Hey there, it's Doc Thompson and Brad Staggs to tell you about a different way to shed those pounds. This is brand new tech. It's only been around for a couple of years or so. It was based on research from the University of California that said there's a molecule called OEA that's found naturally in your body. It produces it in the Mediterranean diet, that when taken in concentrated amounts, it will actually make you feel fuller and boost your metabolism.
I've lost about 10 pounds so far.
It's amazing.
It
now,
really is cool.
A company said, we can take this to market and make this great product that'll help you. It's called RiduZone, RIDUZone.com, RIDUZone.com. It's Brad's worked. It's worked for Brad's, worked for me, countless other people. Go to RiduZone.com and try today. You're going to love it. RiduZone.com. Remember that, RIDUZone.com.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Hey, and my mic is live already. Look at that. I'm glad you had it muted in there because, man, I might have said something wrong. Sorry. Welcome back, Spoony listeners. It is Friday. And I'm happy it's Friday. Get a little time off. Pretend to, anyway. Chef Patrick Mosher, the Food Biz Pro. We're here with Sean Pera.
Hi, everybody.
Pera. So, Sean, you've been in here before.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I'm sorry for you.
Yeah, it was hard to come
It was
back.
painful, wasn't
honestly.
it?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So, Sean is the corporate pastry chef for Pregel USA.
That's right. Yeah.
And Pregel, what is Pregel?
So Pregel is the basically a dessert ingredient company. So we started in 1967 in Italy, came over to the U.S. in I think early 2002, and have been here ever since.
Only 2002. I thought, that's a long time.
Right.
Was the market not mature enough at that time?
I would probably contend that. Yeah, I mean, we were the first ones in the U.S. that really put a stamp on the map for gelato in the U.S. and kind of brought it over. So.
Who doesn't love gelato?
Yes, who doesn't?
We'll get to that in a minute. Here's the great thing about having other chefs come in, regardless of where they're from. They bring treats.
Oh yes.
So I made a point to your PR person, basically, your public out your
public relations,
Janae.
Yeah.
I said, hey, can he bring treats? In my very slow hunt and peck typing, can he bring treats? She's like, yes, I think he's gonna bring treats. So,
absolutely, and you're in pretty good shape for all the nice snacks and food and everything that you get.
Well, Doc's not here to eat it all. I mean, God rest your soul. But I get some of it this time. I swear, he ate every bite of what you left last time.
Did he really?
Yeah, all of like 3 quarts.
I was wondering if you guys were just going to throw it away afterwards.
Oh, it was gone in like 3 days.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he ate it all. It's kind of ridiculous. But so you guys have a series. You have something coming up in March 7th, right?
We do, yeah. Okay. So we have our open house, and basically that's literally open to anybody. It could be, if you're just curious, you're in the public and you want to know what gelato is.
Be careful what you say there. Open to anybody?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm going to show up. I'm going to show up.
and I prep for a couple days and I do a full case of gelato. We have soft serve, we have pastry. So it's a great event for you to come. It's free.
Awesome.
And
you guys have these around. So you have so there's the one in Dallas is March 7th, right?
Yes, correct.
And then you have Chicago, LA, Fort Lauderdale, Charlotte. So Chicago is March. I'll put these up on the Facebook page as well. But Chicago is March 21st. LA is April 11th. Fort Lauderdale is June 26th, and Charlotte the 31st of July. Chicago, March. I think they should have put it in May.
Yeah, I know.
Actually, that's a bad time to do.
Well, yeah, because May is like the beautiful time in.
It's the National Restaurant
and it's the
Association
NRA show.
show.
That's correct, right? Yeah.
the 100th anniversary of the NRA this year,
That's
or the
exciting.
show.
So it should be even bigger this year than it normally is.
It better be. I mean, it's like I don't know how many. It's a couple million square. It's like 2.1 million
crazy.
square feet, and I think 1.6 or something is just on that top floor.
I want somebody to tell me how many football fields fit inside.
Okay, Spoony Nation, jackholes, go to it. Okay, so all of these shows, somebody said, hey, what are you going to call your followers? So Doc had followers, they're called the jackholes, right?
Okay.
So I guess they were giving him a hard time on Twitter, and he goes, all right, knock it off, whatever, you jackholes. And so they all took names, jackhole this, jackhole that. Jackhole Nation is their hashtag.
It's a loving term, right?
So I think we're going to call them little forkers, because I can't call everybody spoonies.
That's good.
So.
That's fair.
Yeah. All right. So, all right, forkers, get to work. Make something up. Find out how many football fields will fit inside of McCormick Place. The first right answer, I won't know it's right, so it doesn't really matter. We'll win a prize. I don't know what it'll be. Gotta have fun, man. It's Friday.
Absolutely.
It's Friday, and I did have beer for breakfast at 11:30. So.
That's a smart decision.
No,
Not on
it's
top of
not.
cereal, I hope.
No, actually, on Matt's show next door now, he has the phrase about you can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning.
That's a term to live by. Yeah.
No, it's not. It's I gotta give beer for breakfast up. So you hold these. Are these quarterly, biannually? Are
They're actually annually. So we just hold them once a year at all the different locations. So it's a small window for us to meet as many people as we can and to show off our state-of-the-art training centers.
cool?
Yeah.
You get to be the big boys.
I do. Yeah.
So I know at the centers, I mean, that's just all you. Well, we'll talk about the shows in a minute, because
Sure.
I want to hear what you guys do at the shows. You were talking about the fancy food show,
Yes.
the Winter Fancy Food Show in San Francisco, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what are you showcasing at these events? What are you highlighting? What are you offering to the public to kind of learn about what pre-gel is?
Well, it really depends on the actual event. I mean, depending on the location, depending on the type of show, for instance, like the Winter Fancy Food is all about what's kind of the next big thing.
Mm-hmm. So how about at the open houses then? How's that differ?
So the open house too, I mean, we want to show new products that we have every year. I think we came up with like 70 new products this year, like something crazy.
Wow.
And every year we try to up the ante. And so whether that's a new flavor, a new gelato base, whatever it is, we try to stay with trends. So for the open house, for instance, we finally made a unicorn gelato. So if anybody has ever wondered what a unicorn tastes like, if you come to my open house, you will find out. And it's actually delicious.
Well, I'm sure it is actually. All right, I'm gonna plead with every company in America, stop making unicorn stuff, please.
It's for the kids. Come on.
No, and actually, so I had another company that we met at the NRA show, and they make basically powdered coffee mixes and things like that, and they make this one shake. They make a couple, but their most popular one is the unicorn.
Okay.
And we're like, well, of course, I mean, all the kids want it, but please tell me there's not like gold-plated, chicken flavored stuff coming out, because I'm telling you, if I see one more gold-plated chicken tender or chicken wing that's coming out, please.
It's not that fancy, but I will tell you, it's a very neutral unicorn color, if you will.
So what is a non-neutral unicorn color?
I would say
we're going into I'm leading you to dangerous territory, I'm sure.
Yes.
So
I would say like this, the color of it is like if you look at like a perfect summer blue sky, it's a little bit darker than that, but it's nothing like purple, nothing pink, nothing like that. And we usually will try to use a natural color. So like, for instance, spirulina would be like a natural food color. So we try to do that, but then also it's going to come with a little decoration pack of like colorful dragées and little rainbows and things like that are all edible. So
dragée, what is a dragée, sir?
Well, dragée is usually just like sugar. Think of like a jawbreaker, right? So layers upon layers of sugar made into little pellets, and then some sort of and then some sort of shiny powder on the outside. That's then refined.
So what do you call those little the ones that are stuck on the paper? I know. I couldn't remember either.
Edible dots? Yeah, I don't know. They're good though.
They are. Aren't they? Remember those? Well, you're supposed to use them for decorating stuff. As a kid, I used to peel them off and just eat them.
I think I questioned once if the paper was edible, and I found out that's not true. Yeah,
it's not.
Unfortunately,
I did a lot of stupid stuff as a kid. We won't talk about that. All right, so 70 new products is a lot. And how long does it take to refine a product? We'll go back into all the stuff that you do, but
yeah. So that would be a question for research and development in Italy. I honestly don't know how long they take, but I can imagine it's quite a while. I mean, it has to go through all the microbiological tests that we run because
Shelf stability
the
kind of
majority
stuff,
of our
yeah.
products are shelf stable. So water activity is really important. So I know that they do all the testing, and obviously that takes a while.
Can we talk a little more geeky? I love the sense.
Sure,
I used to send everything to Mickelson Labs up in California,
Okay.
and then yeah, I loved it. I'd call every day. Hey, how's the shrimp cocktail doing? Is it still okay? They're like, it's still okay. It's still okay. Bacteria count's fine. Like next day, how's it doing? They're like, God, stop bugging me. We'll email you when we get done with the test. But it's fascinating to kind of watch the bacterial growth curve. You know, it goes like this, and then it goes boop.
And then
Yeah, it's
pretty fascinating. And I've been wanting on my birthday list is the Noma fermentation book is going to be on my birthday
Awesome.
my birthday want list.
very
So,
cool. Well, fermentations are a big deal now.
I think so.
Gut
Yeah.
health, and they're relating that to not just heart health and overall body health, but also emotional health. You know, it keeps your
Absolutely.
head straight, because that's where I believe the gut is where like 90% of the serotonin in your body is produced.
Oh, that's amazing. I didn't know
know.
that. And I think people are trying to get away from yogurt because for the longest time they were like, well, that's the only fermentation
So-
other than beer. But
Well, so here's the deal. If man, I have a friend. I use that term loosely. I would say he's a friend. He'd probably say, I know that guy. But Jake is his name. Jake is the corporate chef for a large yogurt company.
Okay.
And here's my thing. And I'll ask this to Jake. Maybe Jake Breer, call me out on this, will you? If yogurt really was working the way it's supposed to work, it had that many live bacteria, healthy gut bacteria or organisms, wouldn't it puff up because they're expelling gas as they're working, or is that base, is it keeping it dormant until you eat it?
yeah, I mean, I guess my intuition says only because it's refrigerated. It's the same thing like yeast,
keeping the temperature low so it doesn't.
that it's basically slowing it down or putting it into sleep.
All right, so I lost Jake. I owe you, man. I owe you, Jake. If I get to New York or I'll see you in Chicago, I'll take you to dinner. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm an ass. I can't help it. It's been a long 30 years in kitchens. Does something to your brain?
It does a little bit. Yeah.
It was, I've never woken up and said I hate my job.
I don't think so. I would hope not. If you're a chef, that's a sad day.
Yeah, I mean, I've woken up and said, "Ooh, I'm hungover," or "I wish I could have slept longer," or "I really don't want to see this person or deal with this situation." But I've never thought to myself I made the wrong choice in career.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's important
Not from
because
what an instant.
your food will reflect that too.
Well, and it's reflected in the attitude towards your staff and your
Absolutely.
coworkers. But so let's get back to the open house. So you're gonna what do you normally showcase at the events at these open houses?
Well, so the open houses, I mean, again, it's new products. So for this year, we have the unicorn. We have like shelf stable crumbles that stay crispy, like folding into gelato. So that should be pretty interesting.
Really?
Yeah.
So how they? All right, I could ask you, but you couldn't tell me.
Well, so yeah, I'd have to probably kill you, unfortunately. But
Can I have some gelato first?
Yeah, yes,
Okay.
you may. Yeah,
There are a lot of listeners. You probably have to kill them too.
that would be
That's a tall order.
that would be your last meal.
Okay, I don't know how many listeners there are, but I'm hoping there are a lot of them today.
But I would always go back to the Christmas Vacation from Clark W. Griswold, and he says, he's a non-nutritive cereal varnish, person or whatever. So I'm assuming it's something like that, but I honestly don't know. It could even be just like cocoa butter.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
it's funny. Have you ever done any like food photography, staging stuff?
I have, yes, all the time.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. So, I love the bowl of cereal. It's actually Elmer's glue, and then you place every flake, and they have the drop coming off. And no, that's not really what I mean. It if you don't think about it, it looks like the perfect
Absolutely.
bowl of cereal, or like tomatoes. You oil them up so that the water
beads up,
on them, and then glycerin to keep things shiny and
My
moist
favorite
while
is the
you're-
oil on turkey, like motor oil on turkey, which I don't know if that's true or not, but I mean, it makes sense.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of stuff. It's photography to begin with, but we had a value added seafood company. Former business partner and I, we were based in California, and all of the photography we did was actually edible food. We didn't use glycerin. There was nothing.
And that's
Nothing at all.
surprisingly, if you go to our website, every single photo is
Yep.
real. Like we don't fake anything, any of our photo shoots. And I know firsthand
I
because I used to do them.
I may have known that.
But yeah, I mean, that brings a whole new challenge. It is not.
It really
definitely not
does.
easy.
Well, especially when you're working with a frozen semi-fritto, something like that.
Even more so.
Yeah, I mean, you're like, time is of the essence, folks. Come on, let's go. I mean, I know you can scoop up another one, but when you have that perfect plate and you can't get the light right. Now, back in the day, though, you had to take you took like a Polaroid of it first to see what it looked like, and then you took the photo because you had to get the film developed.
Oh, yeah.
So that was really tough.
That
was back in like, even back as far as, or as near as 07, 08. 06.
It's hard to think about that. Yeah,
I know. It's like, so we'd have to take like a bunch of the Polaroids, and you'd finally think you got it, and you'd take a roll of film, and you may or may not have gotten. I mean, the photographers were really good, so they pretty much caught what we were looking at, but it was painstaking. Now you can look at it instantly, say, oh no, more light, more less, look, shine it up, dust it off. I don't know what you need to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, the frozen desserts, like taking them, I mean, for instance, like soft serve, trying to get those perfect peaks, I mean, they melt within 10 seconds. And so,
no, they do, yeah.
You know, we have to be ready, right? But the
well, you
art
can shoot
of
them in a
digital
refrigerator,
photography,
but you can't do that either because the lenses fog and
yeah. So it makes it challenging. We do crank the air conditioner down quite a bit.
Do you? Yeah, everybody wears their down coat for for that one day.
Yeah,
because it is Texas.
This is true. Yeah.
So what? Hey, you out of here? Thanks for the whiskey, brother. And the beer. Man, I'm telling you, he's brought like Harold. Look, I don't listen. I don't know any of the listeners' what is it? Twitter handles? Because I don't really. Okay, I don't participate very well on Twitter. I'm not a fan of social media. I get frustrated. It takes so much of my time because you're like those typing classes I took in high school paid off. I was like, I was one of those guys that didn't take typing. I may have taken shop, or actually I didn't. I was probably taking a math class. But.
So that would be interesting. I like to take shop.
Yeah, I should have taken typing, man.
I don't think they do that anymore, though, right?
No, they keyboarding. They call it keyboard. Oh, shop? They have shop.
Yeah, they have shops.
I don't know if they have wood shop. They have like mechanical. Mechanical
and that's
stuff,
where I first learned partly where I learned how to cook was in high school. I took culinary operations class.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I'm way older. They didn't have that where I went to school.
Mac and cheese and salad and very, very simple stuff.
Yeah,
but at least
we called it home ec.
Yeah.
How to balance a checkbook, how to keep a ledger, how to pay your, write a check, and then a little bit of cooking.
That would come in handy nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely. I never took home ec either, but that's probably why, sitting here instead of cooking.
You got a fun job.
It is fun. It is fun. So what if somebody who attends the open house wants to go further with the company and maybe engage you in some sort of business opportunity or
Sure, yeah. Well, luckily during the open houses, we have not just myself, but we have the regional sales reps that are there, and then also other employees that might be at the location. So it's to share in that experience and to make sure that they know, we're there, and,
awesome.
And whatever they need, we'll help them.
Well, it's funny because everybody's all sales rep, everybody turns their ears off, right? But there's only one thing that every company that's not a publicly owned entity needs to do to survive, and that's sell. Because if you don't sell, you don't earn money. Well, I don't care if it's a service or a product.
Yes.
So regardless of what you think about salespeople, you got to have them.
Well, and I think like sometimes you think of like used car salesmen sometimes, which is not a bad thing, but it has a connotation. But a lot of our employees they used to own their own businesses, gelato businesses.
Okay, so. They make the real bucks.
Yes, yeah, more than me.
Oh, maybe
sometimes.
I don't know. I'm not going to ask. We're not going there because we're not going to trade numbers because I can guarantee you zero's less than what you're making.
Yeah,
and I'm not complaining. We're building a brand here, so we're really happy with what we're doing.
You guys are doing a great job.
So you have ITC classes, and then you have the 5-star classes.
Yeah,
so
5 stars.
What are the difference between those?
So the ITC classes, our standard classes that are at our training centers, are for pretty much anybody that wants to come in, even if you're just curious about what ice cream is, what gelato is, so on and so forth. I mean, we kind of cater to the different types of students and where you are in your skill level as well. So those would be like traditional classes. So we have like Bakery 101. We cover like gluten-free baking, things of that nature. Yeah.
I need to enroll in those. That's a science, that's why I do hot food.
It is.
You can wing it. Deep fry that. You burned it. Deep fry another one. Deep fry another one. Just throw that filet on the plate. It's okay. Don't tell them.
It's true. Yeah. Culinary, you guys have a few more tricks up your sleeve, I think, than pastry chefs to hide things.
We can, but when it comes to like duck confit, you burn it. You can't
really
wing
go
that.
back.
You
right?
really can't. You're like, sir, I'm sorry. It jumped to its untimely death. It fell off the plate.
That's very true.
I've had to say that several times.
And I mean, the amount of money that you guys spend on ingredients too, it's totally different. I mean, you guys have truffle, you have duck, you have very expensive ingredients, wild mushrooms.
Yeah,
but pastry chefs, it's sugar.
But sugar and flour. But it's the amount of time and effort it takes to make those desserts look so beautiful.
It's true. Yeah.
Because you eat with your eyes first. That's one of the biggest trends now. Look at Pinterest. It really dictates where we go.
It is, yeah. You just type in something and you look at pictures and everybody.
It's crazy.
So
those Japanese chefs that are doing like the 3-second videos where they're pouring the chocolate sauce over the dome and it melts away to reveal the dessert underneath with like the little. They have like homespun. What do you call it? Cotton candy with whatever the delicate. It's crazy.
It is.
It's like it's that in itself. Just producing that video and designing the desserts is like a whole new art form.
And Japanese pastry to begin with is eons above where other areas of pastry are, because they have so much art that goes into it. It's beautiful.
Well, just to write Japanese, you have to be artistic.
It is. Yeah.
I was autistic. I could barely speak Japanese when I was there. So, all right, we'll get back. We'll go off the short bus stories real quick. So that's the ITC classes, right? And so the 5-star classes.
Yeah. So the 5-star classes are when we bring in, celebrity chefs, if you will, in our industry. I'm not talking about Food Network chefs or anything like that, but these are people that start trends. I mean, we have Amaury Gauchon, who is just an amazing pastry chef. We had Frank Hosnut last year. He was a winner of the World Chocolate Masters. This year we have I forgot her name. It's Ksenia Penkina, Russian chef. So if anybody's ever seen those things on Pinterest of the beautiful glazes, and
those are the
she's
people.
The one that did it. Yeah. So
so I mean, I talk about this all the time, how very few certified master chefs and certified master pastry chefs. There's only like there are 10 or 12 CMPCs in the world, right?
Yeah, CMPCs, that's a totally different category. Not a lot of people want to do that because it definitely takes a lot of time out of your life. There's more certified master chefs than CMPCs.
Yeah, there are like 70, I think, and they're under 20. I think there's only I think there are around a dozen certified, 17 or 12 or something. Certified master pastry chefs. I know the certified master chef test is like 8 days, 10 days. It's a grueling 10, 12-hour day, plus the planning at night. And every day you have to do practical plus written. And it's nuts.
And they change things, I think.
Oh, yeah.
During the test. I know they do that for like the certified master baker. Yeah.
Swap ingredients on you?
Yeah, they change things. They tell you that, you need to write this on a birthday cake or whatever it might be. And that's for the certified master baker, and the certified master pastry chef's even harder.
Okay, it's funny. Sounds certified master baker.
Yeah,
say that 5 times real fast.
That's dangerous.
Sorry. Yeah, good thing we're not FCC regulated. We're digital. So those are the 5-star classes. Those sound really intriguing. I'm gonna have to look into those and see what the schedule is coming up. And so, how can people? How do they find out? How do they sign up?
So basically, they just go to our website. So pregelamerica.com. On there, you have all the links that take you to where you need to find. So whether it be our normal classes or products or the 5-star chefs. So
that's pretty easy.
Yeah.
pregelamerica.com.
Yeah,
that's like a little too easy.
It's a little too easy, but that's kind of the idea. Is you want to make sure that that's easy to remember. That's fast.
Pregel is PREGEL, by the way. It's fascinating. Pastries compared to hot food are, savory hot foods are it's an art as well. It's a trade. It's a craft. It's something you have to develop. But I think the time and effort it takes to create a true world-class pastry, something that's never been tried before, or presentation that's never been done before. I mean, it could take years to develop one item.
It could, yeah. And I mean, like, there's so many different facets of the pastry world too. I mean, you have bread, which is a totally different animal,
of its own, yeah.
Right? And you have chocolatiers that can be a different animal as well. And so yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different directions you can go.
So bread or chocolate so what was your one fail? Like, you're trying to do something at home and it took a lot of time and then it just didn't work? Because I have one.
So one time I tried to make this Ethiopian flatbread called injera. Mm-hmm. And if anybody has ever had it, if you go to Ethiopian restaurant, I'm sure it's it's awesome. It's perfect. And yeah, that's like your utensil, right? Uh-huh. And I tried to make it at home, and it uses teff flour, which that was the first time that I've used teff. I've never tasted it. It's a very interesting flavor. Uh-huh. I would say it's kind of like it's a grass, right? It's a wheat, but it has a particular grassy note.
Yeah.
That's very, very unique. And it's a little bit more difficult to make because it's like making a crepe. But
it's probably a denser flour as well, right?
It is very dense. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
I remember the bread being pretty dense. So I was up in Aspen, right? First year at like 7,500 feet. And I was using Nancy Silverton's Liberia Bakery book.
Okay,
Nancy Silverton, one of my all-time favorite bakers.
Awesome bread.
Oh yeah, and so anyway, she doesn't use traditional yeast, right? She just used no sugar. She used grapes. So depending on where the grapes came from and what variety they were, they would have different yeast on them, and you would get different effect in leavening the bread. And it was a very slow process, right? Very slow because there's a lot of sugar in the grapes, but it takes a long time for that little bit of yeast to really yield anything.
Multiply.
So it would take like a week just to get a starter going, and then you had like 5 more days or 2 more weeks of feeding enough to get some to bake. Oh my God, it took forever. And then raising, trying to allow it's the middle of winter, by the way. Okay, so it's like negative 14 degrees outside, and I'm trying to get bread to rise enough so that I can actually cook it or bake it in the oven. Some turned out all right, but man, that was a very. I think I've spent like 5 months on that book. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, I
have some scars in my brain from that.
I think one of the most interesting things I've ever learned was that, everybody talks about the difference in yeast in San Francisco, for instance, right? They're known for sourdough.
Yep.
But, I believe there's only like 2 different types or strains of yeast that are used in bread.
Yep.
And so, whether you make it in New York or whether you make it in San Francisco, it doesn't matter. It's all about your fermentation and temperatures and all that stuff. So
yeah, well, for me, I was like, oh, this is taking too long, man. I just want to make some cookies. So while we're on that, the only native grain to North America is actually wild rice. And
really?
If you go to SpoonyWildRice.com, they have a special going on. And if you order, they have all these interesting things that are not just plain wild rice. They have this like wild rice polenta, which is actually it's a hot cereal, or it could be a side of polenta if you want something sweet. But you can turn it into a waffle mix. Add some eggs, a little baking soda in there, and some other few ingredients: salt, pepper, sugar. Salt and sugar in that one, and a little bit of milk. And do you have waffles? I made them yesterday. I actually diced up chicken, and I used the the garlic and herb one. Oh, it was awesome.
A little savory waffle.
Yes, exactly. So go to SpoonyWildRice.com, and I believe if you use the code Spoony10, there's a special discount right now for the next 60 days. Anyway, we're here with Sean Para from Pre-Gel USA. He's going to join us for the second half of the hour. And don't forget, we have Cheryl Heisler from Mixed Metaphors. She'll be calling here at the bottom of the hour. Stay tuned. We'll be back in 2.
Never Forgotten Apparel is more than just a premium women's and men's clothing line. It's a movement to remind us to wear American-made and serve those who serve us. Our heroes. Never Forgotten Apparel gives 20% of their total sales to nonprofits that support homeless veterans and off-duty firefighters, and 50% to individual veterans and firefighters in need nationwide. Check out neverforgottenapparel.com. Use promo code MATT, M-A-T-T. and get 15% off your purchase.
It looks like you're losing.
I am.
Are you losing weight?
I am losing. I've lost about 10 pounds.
How are you doing it?
Funny name, but I've done it with Riduzone, RIDUzone.com, and the stuff works. It's, you get into all that, the molecule this and the found in that. All I can tell you is it makes you feel full, and it keeps your mind off of wanting to overeat.
And also boosts your metabolism, so you're burning more.
Yeah,
Try it today. It's going to work for you like it's worked for Brad and countless other people. Riduzone.com. RIDUzone.com. Have you done it? You catch a glimpse of yourself in the mirror?
I'm one of those people you don't want to see naked.
Yeah, most of us. But I mean, you look and you're going, what the?
I know.
How did I get to whatever?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, it's horrible. Hey there, it's Doc Thompson and Brad Staggs to tell you about a different way to shed those pounds. This is brand new tech. It's only been around for a couple of years or so. It was based on research from the University of California that said there's a molecule called OEA that's found naturally in your body. It produces it in the Mediterranean diet, that when taken in concentrated amounts, it will actually make you feel fuller and boost your metabolism.
I've lost about 10 pounds so far.
It's amazing.
It really is cool.
A company said, we can take this to market and make this great product that'll help you. It's called Riduzone, RIDUzone.com, RIDUzone.com. It's Brad's worked. It's worked for Brad's, worked for me, countless other people. Go to Riduzone.com and try today. You're going to love it. Riduzone.com. Remember that, RIDUzone.com.
We bring people together. Spoony.
Welcome back, listener. Chef Patrick Mosher, Food Biz Pro, here with Sean Para from Pre-Gel USA. I was just posting a few drinks here. What are we drinking Friday? What are we drinking Saturday? And on that note, I believe we have a caller. Cheryl, are you there? Hello, Miss.
I'm there. Hi,
hey,
guys.
what's up, Miss Mixed Metaphors?
I am hiding in the corner of a vestibule of a building because I couldn't get to a private phone. Can you guys hear me okay?
Oh, yeah. I mean, last time I think you're in O'Hare last time we spoke, so at least you're not stuck in an airport. You're not getting to the airport late and having to call from the... Oh, hey, look.
No, it's been a kind of week. Let me just tell you, as long as you can hear me, we have phone, have mixer, we'll travel.
Yeah, I just need a ticket. I'll go anywhere. It's,
right.
Well, okay, not anywhere. There's some place I don't want to go this time of year, like Tulsa. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Tulsa. It's just, is there anything to do in Tulsa?
I've only been there once.
Okay.
I mean, it's not tornado season, so
No.
I guess you're okay.
People from Tulsa, tell me what to do in Tulsa, okay? That's a challenge. All right, so Cheryl, I was just looking at the drinks that we have here for this week, and
Yeah.
can I tell you, that drink you made for Doc, the Doc's The Man's Manhattan, was unbelievable. That champagne chaser was awesome.
I'm glad you liked it.
Oh, I had to do everything I could.
I haven't talked to you.
Not to make another one, you know. I just had the one, but I've been dying to make one. We have all the leftovers from that, except the champagne because I didn't last. But yes, this week you went two directions, right? So what are we drinking Friday?
Well, yes and no. I'm going to tell you how they tie together in my warped mixology mind. First of all, it's been an insane week, and I found, like most women, I can't vouch for the men, but sometimes you just have to multitask to get everything done.
Never.
So I was working through lunch. I was I was running literally while I was running errands. So I found that I think it was on Wednesday or Thursday, I had to miss my coffee break. And by the time I got a chance to do a coffee break, it was happy hour. So if you're using your head, you got to put them together. And I created my own happy break.
Ah, I like it. I like it.
And that's our first drink. What are we drinking on a busy Friday is going nuts for a coffee break.
Yep.
And the picture you can tell is a nice full cup of the best dark roast coffee you've got. I don't know about you guys. By late afternoon, I got to go half regular, half decaf. Otherwise, I'm going to be up all night thinking about what I didn't get done during the day.
I actually go decaf all the time.
So start with whatever kind of coffee you like.
All
the time? You don't even need a cup in the morning to get you going?
Well, not really. I run around like a coke addict, sweating and like, hey, we got to do this. We got to do this. What are we doing? What are we doing next? Hey, Ron, teach me something. Guy behind the glass, new guy. Hey, what? Hey, teach me something. No, I'm just joking. But really, I just should stay away from caffeine. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
Well, wait. So can I digress for a quick minute? Do you know one of the theories of how coffee got discovered is that a shepherd was watching the goats, and the goats had gotten into some new berry plant, and they were particularly frisky. They were rumping around, they were jumping, they were having a grand old time. And the shepherd sees this berry bush and decides, well, if it's good for the goats, I'll have some. And he experiences that same kind of caffeine high, takes it back to the tribe, and everybody starts saying, hey, this is good stuff. I can't vouch for it, but it's a theory that's out there, and I read it on the internet, so it must be true.
I know, and I thought I read the same thing about the cocoa leaf, so I'm not sure, but no, yeah, I've read this story too. I mean,
it makes a great story.
No, it's actually it's a pretty familiar story. It's been out there a long time, and I've heard it several times. I've never heard of any other theory, so it must be true.
Yeah. I'm going with it, and I'm sticking with it. So going back to our happy break, right? You've got your nice cup of dark roast coffee, whatever mix of regular or decaf you like. Then there's a product out there, a delicious Mexican chocolate called Taza, T-A-Z-A.
Mm-hmm.
It comes in about 6 different flavors. You can find it online. I know you can find it at Whole Foods. And I took a quarter disc of the spiciest one they've got, which is a guajillo chili, and put it right at the bottom of the mug underneath the coffee so the hot coffee starts to dissolve it. Then you add your steamed milk on top of it. And if you're going to do this right, just go for the whole. If you got to cheat a little, go for 2%, but I'd say go for whole milk. And then pull out your Frangelico, the hazelnut liqueur that most of us or most of our parents even had in the back of the liquor cabinet.
Oh, yeah, it's been there 20 years. You need to get rid of it?
Stuff.
Yeah.
No, it still works. And it just is the perfect mixer in this nice hot cup of joe. A little cinnamon sugar over the top. And I don't know, it was a very, very happy thing I can recommend it with pure intentions. It's really yummy.
It sounds delicious, and I'm a huge fan of hazelnut. So Frangelico is pretty underutilized right now. It's probably coming back. It was big like in the late 70s, early 80s, and then it kind of faded in the mid 80s. So we had things like what's the cherry liqueur? The amaretto started taking over for things like the more classic Frangelico, but
right. And you see that advertised a lot now, the Amaretto di Serono. And it's also, now you got to be careful if anybody's got a nut allergy, because all of these are, in fact, nut derivatives. So I'm not saying you couldn't replace this with a Kahlua or a Godiva chocolate, but there's something about that little bit of hazelnut that doesn't overpower it. It's just really soft and nice.
Well, we happen to have like a world-class pastry chef here that might be able to give us an idea, besides the nut-based flavor, like hazelnut or pistachio or something like that. What else could you put in there?
I mean, just a really good like spiced rum would be good too. I mean, Frangelico, like you said, I think was kind of like it's like that 70s drink. I think it was used in like the Pink Squirrel or something like that was a type of beverage back in the day.
Okay, the thing is, he knows.
My other drink, you are going to know where my mind was this week.
Yeah, well, we did. I gave him a peek, but the thing is, he remembered the drink.
I remembered it.
I don't think you were old enough to even know what an alcoholic beverage was back in the late 70s, but.
No, but doing like research and reading my dad's old like bar books and everything, you know, it's going back in time.
Oh, I know. Yeah. They're awesome. Go ahead, Cheryl.
Forget about that. What pastry should we eat with our coffee?
There you go.
With our happy break.
That's a good question. I mean, like I would definitely pair it with you could do gelato. You know, the kind of interesting thing is like affogatos are kind of making a comeback. So this would be a perfect kind of drink.
I love affogato.
Okay, so we have actually 4 gelatos sitting on the table. So when we're done with the drinks, we're going to taste them and make you jealous.
Oh yeah.
Are you mixing in the studio today?
No. So he's actually Sean is actually the corporate pastry chef for Pre-Gel USA, Pre-Gel America, and they do they just dominate there. Mm-hmm. One more time.
No, I said hi, Sean.
Oh. Hello.
Okay, so here's another thing. Not only can I not talk, I can barely see. I don't hear well. You know, I'm pretty much completely deaf in my right ear, and if I don't hear exactly what you're saying, you'll notice I always look right at the guest's mouth, because I can kind of read lips. I can, by piecing that together and the small bits of audio I get. That's why I wear the headset. You know, I'm afraid to take them off because I really don't hear well without this amplified sound. And people tease me all the time. I mean, people close to me are like, do you really not hear me? I'm like, yes, I don't hear you. And I get frustrated because if you don't look at me and you're walking away and you say something, it's like, wah, 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 wah. That's what I hear. Wah, 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 wah.
It's like the Charlie Brown teacher, right?
It's not even wah, 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 wah. There's no discernible, you know, there's no break between the words. It's like, wah, wah, wah. And I don't hear any, there's no intonation, there's nothing. It's just this garble of noise. And if people are like, it can't be that. I'm like, yes, that's what I hear. Turn around and look at me when you're talking to me. And I get so frustrated. I'm like, what the hell are you so pissed off about? I'm like, I'm sorry. I can't hear you. Look at me.
It could have come in handy, though, if you think about it.
Selective hearing is very good.
Yeah.
Except it just pisses them off more.
I know a lot of husbands who claim that they can't really hear either, and it's selective hearing. So
I wouldn't know about that.
I'm going to have to take your word about that, Patrick.
Nah, never. Nope. All right. What else we got? Oh, wait. What do we drink? So which of these, what flavors do you bring today?
So we have an avocado gelato, a green apple kale sorbet, blueberry pomegranate and beet sorbet, and then a smoked vanilla bourbon and pecan.
Ooh, okay. All right. So now on that
I'm thinking smoked vanilla bourbon pecan.
That's what I was thinking for this one.
And the happy break.
Yeah.
That's a great combination.
That sounds delicious. All right, so
do we have to go back to work after that, though?
No. Do we ever have to go? No one ever has to go back to work. I mean, it's freedom of choice, right? God gave us free will, or whoever, you know. Really, you don't have to. You might lose your job, and it is Friday. I mean,
unless your job.
What's that?
Right, it's Friday, and if your job is a mixologist, you just turn around and go back to the bar and start all over again. So
yeah, just don't drink it in your bar. That's how you get fired, right? Oh, I used to have a bartender that used to come in the restaurant and drink before his shift and then walk behind the bar. I'm like, dude, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Well, you could have in the 70s.
Not okay.
I had a sushi chef, and all right, Cliff, I'm not going to say her last name. This is in Denver. Awesome guy. But he'd go on break, right? And he'd be like, I'll be back in like 15 minutes. And it's like a busy night. So he'd walk across the street to the Old Chicago. Or there was another tavern. Actually, there's a bar right next to Old Chicago. And he was he was like an older guy. Okay. And I trained him to do sushi. And he'd get a shot of like a Grand Marnier, like an old guy's drink, like a shot of Grand Marnier. If you're going to go across the street, have a drink, get fired, at least get a Boilermaker. Get a man's drink, man. Right. A shot of beer or, something heavy duty. A shot of Grand Marnier, and you're going to come back to work going, hey.
You didn't even warm it up?
Actually, I'm picking on him because I actually went with him a couple times, I have to admit. But, okay, before we run out of time, we have plenty of time left. But what are we drinking Saturday?
All right. So, Sean, you kind of beat me to that punch. I was thinking about the old sort of drinks that used to be everybody's cool favorites, or maybe just my grandmother's cool favorites. And I started going through the back of the cabinet. I found creme de menthe and creme de cocoa. And when you see those two together, it can only shout one thing. You got to make a grasshopper with it.
There's only one drink, that's right.
There's only one drink, but you know what? It's really good. I had forgotten there's a reason for those drinks. And if you have some fun with it, whether it's fun with the garnish, I think once Girl Scout cookies come into season and everyone's got those thin mints as a garnish, or some of the fun stuff that you see now as we're getting hopefully into spring at the garden store, you could make a tray of grasshoppers that would be so adorable.
Forget the mint julep, folks.
For a guy's night out.
Forget the mint julep. It's all about the grasshoppers.
I'm doing a bridal shower in a couple of weeks. I'm thinking if the bride likes green, we might put some of those out. I do some work for a local lawn and garden center. They have fabulous parties. This is so perfect. And if you've been in Chicago like I have and you're so sick of winter, anything that's green looks good, even grasshopper green. So it's pretty easy. You mix equal parts of green creme de menthe and creme de cocoa. I've used either light or dark in this. Most of the recipes tell you to use the light creme de cocoa so it doesn't get in any way interfere with that crazy green color. And then you're going to add 4 ounces of whole milk or cream. Shake it up really good with ice in the shaker, and then strain it into a pre-chilled coupe glass or a great-looking stemmed glass. And then you've got a little whipped cream on the top. And I would plant a couple of those Oreo cookies or mint cookies, or like in the photo, I happen to have this garden grasshopper just waiting to jump into something.
It's like liquid mint chocolate chip ice cream.
It can't be bad.
No, I've had these before. When I was a kid, that's what my mother and my aunt and they all drank grasshoppers. Yeah. Is that or like a White Russian, right?
Okay.
Or Black Russian on occasion.
Very ladylike.
Yeah, and so Black Russian's just with the addition of Kahlua, right? Or is that what it is? I don't
think of the Big Lebowski.
I know that's right. That's all I can think of every time.
Vodka and Kahlua.
All I can think of is the
vodka and Kahlua and cream.
Yes, and so but they'd leave them on the table. I'd taste them, and it really was. It was like melted, the chocolate chip mint ice cream, but it was it had a little kick to it. Get a little shiver down your spine when you taste it. You're like, ooh, what is that?
Balance that sugar out.
Yeah, I was like, no, Mom, I haven't been drinking. I'm only 6.
That's ice cream.
I've never had a grasshopper.
Well, you can use ice cream in these. You have an insect grasshopper or a drink grasshopper?
Well, both. Yeah, I wish I could say I'd have an insect. That'd be pretty interesting.
Well, you know what? Actually, I've eaten grasshoppers and crickets.
What does it taste like?
Crickets and grasshoppers. Be careful of the feet going down; they get stuck in your teeth.
I've heard that. Yeah.
No, but this is a grasshopper, so you could actually have the kale. Wait, this is kale and what?
It's kale, green apple, spinach.
Okay, that's a little too much.
Yeah, so that would probably be a little bit too much.
So, can't do the beet and raspberry, right?
I was gonna say, I would say maybe avocado because avocados don't really have that much flavor.
It's fairly neutral,
fatty.
And it's just nice and creamy.
Yeah, and it's green. So
what color is the avocado gelato? Is it a green?
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna take some pictures. I need to post them online. But yes, it's you describe the color there, chef.
So I mean, it's literally like the color of an avocado. You cut it open, and you see those kind of yellow green notes. So that's the same color as the gelato. Surprisingly, the milk doesn't allow the avocados to oxidize, so you get this beautiful green color, and it's all natural.
I would definitely put that in here because I think the taste of the mint and the color of the mint is what's going to need to overpower. And then avocado gelato sounds delicious but kind of mild.
Yes.
I think that's the way to go.
Awesome. Well, where's my cocktail so we can try this? You know, I really need to get on the ball on building this bar. Everybody's been sending us this celebratory, like celebrate Doc's life with a bottle of bourbon or a bottle of scotch or other whatever. They've been sending us all sorts of stuff, cases of beer. Send some creme de menthe, creme de cacao, and maybe some Kahlua. What else do we need? Frangelico. No, anything but Rumplemints, okay? Please, no Rumplemints.
No. Well, we can reverse engineer drinks too, you know. Tell me what you're long on, and we'll put those into some of our What Are We Drinking?
That's a good idea.
I hate to see a bottle of booze. Oh, a bottle of booze can't go to waste.
Well, it's funny. I was reading this article the other day about how to store your bourbon, how to like store your whiskeys, and I was like, you don't store it, man. You get the bottle, you open it, you drink it.
Oh, really?
But it's like anything else. You try to keep it away from light, right?
Okay.
High temperatures. It was interesting in the fact I didn't think about it like a perishable item, more perishable item like milk, you know, where you don't want light affecting it and things like that.
Right.
But are there liqueurs out there or spirits that are more susceptible to those types of that are more affected by light, heat, oxygen?
That's a great question, and you always want to make sure that the bottles are closed tight and, like you say, put away. If it's in a darker bottle, it tends to stay a little bit better. Some of the nut products, the nut oils can go off. So I worry about that sometimes with, they
go rancid, basically.
I used to have a walnut liqueur,
mm-hmm.
And I loved it, but after a while I couldn't use it. Also, sometimes if there's a lot of sediment in it, if it's maybe fruit-based and there's a ton of fruit and a ton of sugar, it's going to get really gunky on the bottom. So just like with any ingredient you're going to use when you cook or when you bake, take it out and try it first. You know, sometimes you can strain a bottle of something and reuse it, but if it's not good, your whole recipe is only going to be as good as your weakest ingredient. So you're not really saving money if you put a rotten or an off product into your cocktails. You're cheating yourself and you're cheating your guests.
No.
But having said that, most things, even when I do work at the local theater, I write their cocktails, and we sticker things for at least a year. If we haven't gone through it in a year, there's another problem. We're not doing enough business, obviously. But that's for commercial use, and in your own home, you can go longer than that.
Oh, I remember stuff sitting. So my mother was not really a big drinker, but I remember stuff sitting in the cabinet for like 10 years. A long time. I mean, it was ridiculous. I was like, it's like syrup when you pour it out. Although, you know what? I watched this show. I don't remember where I saw it. I think it was on PBS. Was it on PBS? Yeah, I think it was before Netflix came out. And it was these old guys sitting around in one of the states here. It wasn't Kentucky, but somewhere. And they were tasting like 100-year-old Madeira wine.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It poured out like honey.
I was going to say it's super thick.
And I was like, oh, that looks interesting, but I bet it tastes really, really good.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, it's fortified. I mean, and it's,
maybe it turns sour a little bit?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question.
Yeah.
We were at a friend's house last week who opened up a bottle of 50-year-old port, and we didn't know what we were going to get. It was lovely.
Yeah, well, port, those fortified wines.
Stored it right, or
well, they're not. So that's not something that really ages in the barrel, right? They're just. I mean, some of them are, but most. It's like wines are different. Like wine and champagne. Champagne doesn't really mature in the bottle like wine does, right? There's not usually the tannins and all that kind of stuff to mellow, so it doesn't change as much over time. It may get a little more buttery, but I think it's the same with some of the fortified wines. I don't know, other than getting more condensed. You correct me if I'm wrong.
I know that some of the champagnes do. We were talking about this, I think, last week with I can't remember which one it was. There are some that ferment the second time in the bottle. So that's when they're younger, but it does change from the bottling to the table.
All right, there's twice today. I've been just rewind, delete that. Let's go forward. We'll replay that and record over it. So, but
you were just seeing if I really read my stuff last week.
Actually, what I was thinking is no, because I was reading the article about storing the whiskey the other day, and so whiskey is unlike wine. It doesn't really become more refined in the bottle. It doesn't change flavor profile. other than through oxidation or something like that. So it doesn't mature any, like a 100-year-old whiskey that was, it's really about the aging in the cask. And then once they bottle it, it doesn't really change.
Wouldn't matter.
Yeah. There's a great place in Houston. It wasn't Chris Shepard, one of the other chefs down there. He has this great collection of aged beers, right?
Ooh.
Oh yeah, and I was reading about this. I cannot wait to go there and try one. I don't even know if the restaurant's
It's
open
like
anymore.
barrel-aged beer?
Yeah, no, but in the bottle. So
in the bottle.
yeah, because beer changes a lot in the bottle. There's so many active ingredients in it when it's bottled.
Okay.
But I
Not usually for the better. That sounds interesting.
yeah, well, these are very select, like small batch beers that were like, and they're not like 50 years old. They're like 4, 6, 12. I think is about
Yeah,
far back that
50-year-old
they go.
beer. I don't know.
Well, there's this one they found this shipwreck off the there were two. One off of Tasmania that they had this beer that was like 200 plus years old. And then they had a shipwreck off of Long Island. It was a USS Oregon, I think. And they found beer that's like 157 or 187 years old.
It's still technically good?
Well, no, but they did. So what they had is they had the owner of one of the breweries in New York and some of these, the students from State University of New York, and I can't remember where it is, but because there's so many campuses. But they actually, so they smelled the beer, then they actually tasted it.
Wow.
But now they're researching to find out which yeast it was that they made it with, and they said it smelled like barley beer.
Okay.
So they're going to try to recreate it, but it's not the first time they've done this, though.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Anyway, all right.
Well, boats and whiskeys have a whole history, right? Isn't that how modern day gin was figured out? That they used to put gin on the Navy ships, and the rocking of the ocean and the botanicals and everything kind of mixed together, and they took it out, and it not only did it stay, it got better with age.
So here's my question, right? And this is for both of you. We have all these foods that, when they're in their natural state, kill you. Juniper berries, right? Gin, make you very ill. Fugu, blowfish, right? Yeah. Who the hell thought that up, really? And I've said this, so I say this in the air all the time. But what are some other ones? Like, I talk about polk salad, which is this little green that grows in Texas, right? Okay. And you have to boil it like 5 times, strain it. You boil it, drain it, boil it, drain it. It's like, because it makes you deathly ill. Oh, wow. So why would you, how long did it take? Did you like feed one child at a time till one of them didn't die? Oh, boil it again. That one's sick. Got to take, honey, we're going to have to have more children. We only had 2. We just killed the cat. We need another kid. I mean, what did they do? How did they figure that out, that you had to do this over and over, or dice and slice? Like, how many drunk fishermen on the boat died eating blowfish before they figured out you have to cut it exactly this way, not too close to the skin or to the interior, the organs? Why?
Well,
if somebody died, I'm like, hey, take it away. I'm done.
Right. And I mean, I kind of feel the same way about oysters. Like, who was the first one that opened that up and said, this looks delicious?
A very hungry man.
I would assume so.
Although I like oysters, so.
Okay. Well, I mean, fugu, for instance, like, I don't know how, like, is it worth it? That amount of trouble and that amount of time, or is it worth it because it's such a respected
But how did they
art?
figure it out? Like, how did they, and why? So juniper berries, right? Who thought of taking that, something that makes you so violently ill, and turning it into a spirit?
Yeah.
And why?
Well,
And
even
who figured out that it was safe after
the story
you brewed
about
it, too?
coffee berries.
Which one?
The story we were reading about those coffee berries. When they first tried them, you maybe got a caffeine buzz out of them, but they were awful. They were in different forms. Sometimes they were too soft. Sometimes they threw them into the fire to kind of change the consistency, and then they liked the smell, so that drew them in. I don't think the first guy who did it got it right the first time. And to this day, we're still working on our...
But it didn't kill you. That's the thing. I mean, well, it could have, I guess, if you ate too many of them and have a heart attack. But I just, especially things really poisonous like fugu or some of these other things that have to be very specially prepared. I mean, it costs you like $5,000 just to take the exam in Japan. You have to be sponsored. You have to spend so many years, preparing to cut the fish. Well, I'll tell you, to be honest, it doesn't have a lot of flavor.
Does it?
It's very mild. It tastes like whatever you put on it. And typically, it's the easiest way to get. They serve it in a big nabe, like a cauldron of soup, and they just put it in there. It's delicious soup, but the fish just tastes like the soup.
I didn't know this until going fishing with my dad, but barracuda, once it gets past a certain size, becomes poisonous. So you're only allowed to eat, smaller ones. Huh. It was actually pretty good. Yeah.
They grill them in Japan, the whole fish, head on. Yeah, they're yummy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, I missed the whole
risk-reward ratio on the blowfish doesn't seem like it's worth it. I mean, if you
No.
taste it, it's the best thing you've ever eaten, and if it's only okay,
No, it
I'll
wasn't.
take a pass.
It wasn't the best thing. So I have a friend. He worked at a place in La Jolla. I think I talked about this just the other day. He came to work for me in Coronado Island. His name was John Zamora, and where he was working, I think it was called Japone, or it wasn't Roppongi because that's right down in, but it's up on the hill in La Jolla, California. He and the chef there, they had ordered this black market blowfish that you could get. It came in a tray frozen, right? And it's these little slices. So you serve it sashimi or sushi.
Yeah. And
they both took one little tiny bite. And why is it so hard for people to understand time zones? I'm only on 1 hour a day, right? That's my consulting partner. Sorry, Jeff, I'm getting a hard time. Just watch the show. Now I know you're not even watching the show. What kind of a partner are you? I'm going to make you go back now and listen to the podcast today. And then you'll be, why'd you call me out, man? Well, because you're not watching the show. I need some support. So anyway, they eat one little tiny bite, right? And that's the last thing you remember. Like 15 seconds later, he was out, and he woke up like 3 days later in the hospital.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and they were really lucky. It's a cytotoxin, like shuts down the central nervous system, so you stop breathing. You know, your heart stops pumping, and you just, you're done.
Not worth it. It's just a fish.
Heck no. So
Oh my gosh.
say I'll never eat it again, but I probably will. But they did a whole thing on Science Channel about him and the other guy, and they lived, and pretty incredible. But all right, you got 30 seconds left, Cheryl. Anything else you want to share with us this week?
Sun is shining in Chicago. It's news around here. It's 30 degrees. We're having a heat wave. That must be why I was thinking of summer and grasshoppers.
Oh, you know what? Then, hey, there's a great song by a Scottish reggae artist, named Finley Quay. It's called Sunday. Sun is shining, summer is sweet, yeah. Makes me want to move my dancing feet. It's a great song. Look it up. It's Finley Quay. I think it's called Shining.
Cool.
Yeah, a Scottish
reggae.
Scottish reggae.
Yeah, how can you not like that? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Patrick, I've got one thing to end the show on. Can I tell you real quick?
No. Yes, go ahead.
It's a great joke. All right. A grasshopper walks into a bar. The bartender says, "Hey, we got a drink named after you." The grasshopper says, "You got a drink named Bob?"
Okay, I got a better one for you. Hey, just keep in mind that pretzels are just stale breadsticks. Okay, so, oh my gosh. Thanks, Cheryl. You have a great weekend. Tell your family, thanks for loaning us, and your husband's a very generous person and let us borrow you on Fridays. So, you have a great weekend. Thank you.
It's fun. Love working with you guys. Sean, nice to meet you. I hope to talk again.
I appreciate it. All right, folks, we're going to say, ciao for the day. Have a great weekend. We're going to eat a lot of this gelato right now. As a matter of fact, you want to taste some? All right, what's your favorite? What's your favorite?
Green apple kale.
Okay.
Got to go for it.
All right. Oh, brain freeze. Not yet. Oh, wow.
Eat
That's
your
like
veggies.
that's like a salad and the dressing, like a green apple dressing and the salad all one. Actually, you don't taste the kale so much. All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to tell all your friends, family. I'll be back next week. Chef Patrick Mosher, Food Biz Pro, Sean Parra. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Hey, have a great weekend. Ciao for now. Have a good one.